If the weather's clear, can do, can do. This guy says the horse can do. If he says the horse can do, can do.
Today at Fodder Park is a regular Saturday afternoon feature. Always a special moment for me as we get to talk horses with the real stars of the show, those that are responsible for putting on all the great thrills and spills that we've witnessed over a long, long period of time here at Fodder. Before we get to groom Nick Jones, though, first and foremost, a warm welcome for all of those who have showed up here at Fodder Park as part of the Iron Horse Motorcycle Show. And if you're perusing the property and the facility over the course of the day, we highly encourage you to come down to the main line. That's the bottom floor here at the track, where I think maybe the best display yet that these guys have come up with as far as Hog Wild is concerned is on display over in front of the Nebraska Thoroughbred Hall of Fame and the Vandenberg Library. It stretches on forever and ever. Some fantastic looking motorcycles and displays to go with. So a full day is ahead here at Fodder Park. Lots to do, lots of things to see. And again, we welcome those of you who've joined us as a result of the Iron Horse Motorcycle Show, which goes on not only today, but tomorrow as well here at Fodder. Quick word about yesterday's accomplishment turned in by trainer Kim Verhusen. 4 wins on 1 card. That puts him now in the Fodder Park record books. He's tied for 3rd all time in that category. He fell 1 short of the record. It's held by a couple of fellows, one still of which calls Fodder Park his home, that being Marv Johnson, who back in the year 2000 won 5 races on 2 days early in that particular meet. And then you go back to 1989. Tim Gleason was the first one to do it. He won 5 races. That's what, 29 years ago here at Fodder Park, 28 years ago. So Kim Verhusen, who still is in the record books of the Nebraska State Basketball Tournament. We researched this morning and spoke throughout the day on radio reports that we do across Nebraska. Kim still holds the individual scoring record in a state tournament game. He played for Class D Adams back in 1972. He scored 52 points. He also scored 121 points for the 3-game tournament. Both of those marks still stand in all classes here in the state of Nebraska, which is almost 40 years ago to the day that Kim Verhusen accomplished that, and we tip our hat to him. Well, I've been trying to get this gentleman in here for several years now, as are most people that follow Nebraska horse racing. I don't care what side of the fence you come from, horseman, fan, official, or like. Superstitions abound, and Nick Jones, who's sitting to my right, if he's not the most popular groom on the backside, he certainly is, in my mind, the most well-known. And of course, his popularity has risen tremendously because he's the guy that takes care of the nuts.
Yeah.
Nick Jones, welcome to Video Control this afternoon. Why has it taken so long to get you in here?
I'm shy, I guess. I'm really shy.
Well, for those of you that know him, he's anything but I really appreciate you coming in here.
You're welcome.
And striking while the iron is hot, so to speak, because the Nuts victory last Saturday again, I put up there with maybe one of the top 4 or 5 races I've ever seen here at Fodder Park. You had to be totally ecstatic following that race.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he's had such a hard luck the last few years, but injuries, being sick and stuff. And, you know, when he's 8 years old now, and you don't expect when you lead him over. You just hope that he runs a good race and he comes back good. So the victory was really bittersweet. It was exciting. You know, I was jumping up and down and had a good time and stuff. And, you know, I'm happy for the old man. You know, that's what we call him at the ball
he's
now.
8 years old now.
He's the old man.
Have you been with him every step of the way?
I started taking care of him when he was 2 years old. Yeah. And that year, we were about ready to run him, and Steve worked him, and he shin bucked. So that took care of his 2-year-old year. And then his 3-year-old year, the same thing happened again. He shin bucked again. Well, then you know what happened the 4-year-old year. He comes and
He wins the
with his
Bosseman.
Bosseman. Yeah, exactly. So, and then after that, it's just been hard luck. It's little injuries, nick knack here, and you try to take care of him as best as you can, but you can't foresee it coming. It just happens, and then you get sick to your stomach when all of a sudden you're looking at the Bosseman and you're thinking, well, we got another shot to win it again, and there's a bruised foot.
Yeah.
So, but he's doing good. Hasn't changed one bit. He's not mean horse, but he likes to play, have a good time. You saw him today when I was brushing him. He just sits there and he'll look at you and he'll threaten to bite you, but he never has. Now watch, because I did this show. I'm going to go back and get bit tomorrow.
I will be blamed for it as well.
Yes,
Nick
you
Jones,
will.
as he referenced, works for trainer Steve Hall. I remember when you showed up here at Fowler Park back when the Nuts was a 2-year-old. This was just kind of a stopping point on your way to somewhere else, and you've never left.
Never have left. I was going to go back to Hot Springs, Arkansas. I went to Oaklawn, and I went to work for Steve, and Steve's such a good man to work for. First of all, that's the main thing. And then, family's here, my brother's here, and then all my friends and stuff. I got Beekman, Kenny.
And Johnny.
And Johnny, but I got to give a word out to Kenny. Mhm. So one thing led another, and my daughter's here, and I'm a grandfather now, and so just one thing led to another, and I came, saw, and stayed, I guess, but.
Let me. You talk about Steve Hall being a good man to work for. I just want to take a quote that I got from Steve Hall in regards to the work Nick Jones does for him as a groom. It came while I was putting a newspaper article together a couple of days ago. This quote from Steve Hall: Nick Jones not only has been a great asset to my barn, but for any barn that he's ever worked in. He doesn't just show up for the job and leave, because he understands what goes into the job. Explain that. I don't think a nicer thing could be said.
No, that's nice, but you got to take pride. There's nothing more exciting than knowing that you've actually had something to do with a horse crossing the finish line first, and that's what it's all about. And it's not a 9-to-5 job. We work 7 days a week. You're there. We start at 5:30 here. In Lincoln it's 4:30, and you might be there from 5:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, cooling horses out, doing horses up, but that's the main thing. When they cross the finish line, you feel like you had a part of them winning and stuff, because there's so many things go into it. You've got Steve, the trainer, who watches horses go every day. You've got the gallop boy. You've got the jockey, and then you got sometimes, hopefully, me. But,
all the time.
And then you got the horse. The horse, and the horse is about 99% of it, I think, because if they can run, they can run.
Well, they've got the horse right now. Let's relive the moment. What do you say?
Okay.
And watch the replay of last week's Budweiser Tondi Stakes. We'll send them off at the gate and kind of talk over and set up the scenario here, Nick, as the field was from top to bottom pretty tough. Reach One More was in there, the pretty gray horse out of the Chuck Turco barn. And then Song of Humor, he's the real newcomer on the block who's on the outside carrying the pink silks, and jockey Jose Renia. And going into the first turn, your horse with the green silks is dead last, Nick. What were you thinking at this point?
I've never seen him back that far, and I'm just sitting there going, well, we'll see what's going on now. And Song of Humor is a very nice horse, and he got out to a very comfortable lead, and I thought there's just no way nobody's going to catch him and stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody thought he was gone at this point. And it's at this point also that Nestor Maldonado starts asking his horse, and I think I was as shocked as anybody on the outcome of the race. Nick, we'll talk more about it shortly. Let's just pick up the sound and bring him home in the Budweiser Toddy. It was a thrilling finish.
And here they come into the stretch. Song of Humor nursing a 3.5 length advantage over Reach. One more who's found his best stride at the 8th pole. But it's all Song of Humor by 4. Here comes the Nuts with a late charge down the outside of the racetrack. And the Nuts is picking him up and laying him down. Song of Humor being asked for more. But the Nuts has him measured at the wire. The Nuts gets thrown on the wire in front. Song of Humor runs second with Louis Trey third.
Does that still bring goosebumps to you? We'll get the head-on shot here. Nick, tell us, and I made this observation. He was so wide coming out of the turn that Nestor could have high-fived and shook hands with the guys along the outside fence.
Oh, absolutely. He was way wide, but, you know, the only thing is I'm going, you know, please don't let the wire come early for Song of Humor and stuff, because he was like his old self. He was digging in, and, you know, he had his game face on. He was running stuff at the top of the stretch. I knew he was running, but I was just worried about how far we were out and if we could get up and time stuff, because when I ran out there, I didn't know if we won it or not, and I'm asking Jerry Jewell, did we win it? And Jerry went, yeah, you got it by a head, maybe a half a head. And I went,
well, as you also pointed out, the 8-horse right here, Miltgate's Song of Humor, is no slouch.
No.
He is a quality animal, and I would assume that the two of you, along with Reach One More, Kid Rambo, maybe Whodunit, whatever, some of the other horses in here are going to meet again sometime within the next couple of weeks, maybe in the Dowd.
you know, I don't know what Steve's plans are. You know, usually Steve just tells me the day he enters, and well, we entered the old man, you know, because that's one thing I love about Steve. You know, we kind of got that good working relationship where he just lets me know what to do and I do it. So that's basically what it does. But I think pointing it towards the Dowd, and I hope we do go in it, but like I said, that's Steve's decision and stuff.
He's an 8-year-old, and, you know, this was his first start of the year. You see Nick walking back now to the big red barn that is on the very eastern edge of the property, straight across behind the half-mile practice track, as I refer to it. You can see it from the grandstand. This is the home of not only the Nuts, but a stable of somewhat 20 or 25 of Steve Hall's.
Yes, we got 27 head.
And we slipped in there for a while this morning. Nick was working with the big horse in the barn. This is the Nuts, and I've been told, and your trainer has acknowledged, he can be a handful at times.
Oh, he's never really done anything bad. He's never kicked me or bit me, but he's got a little attitude once in a while where he doesn't want to be messed with. He'll let you know. He'll nip at you, and then he'll show his teeth, and he'll, like you call cow kick, he'll lift his hind leg up at you, but he thinks he's tough once in a while.
Steve Hall told me also he loves peppermints, and I know one of the first comments you said to him when you got his attention, I don't have any peppermints today, but he also likes beer. How did you discover that?
Well, that's a long story. You don't have time.
Nick, let's talk about you for a minute, as again, we kind of just follow him around this morning. There's a lot going on in the barns 24/7. These animals need care constantly. Never time for a vacation. It's an incredible life, and the lifestyle that most don't yearn for, to be honest with you. But how long have you been in the business, Nick?
Oh, let's see. It's been over 20 years that I've been on the racetrack full time. I started with Larry Frazee in Omaha, and just never quit. Worked for a man named David Van Winkle for about 10 years. Worked for Chuck Turco for a number of years, and now I've been with Steve. This is my 7th year with Steve.
How did you get started? What lured you to the racetrack? You grew up in Grand Island. You couldn't help it. And I think your dad, and your brother were avid race fans, so you got hooked at an early age.
Yeah. Well, the really honest truth is that my mother's cousins were married to jockeys.
There you go.
And the real reason I started was as my cousin Benji, you know, and one day I just decided, well, I want to do something different, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
You know, one thing I miss from taking over the track announcing duties here at Fonner was it was going down to the Racing Festival of the South in the Arkansas Derby at Hot Springs, Arkansas, that being, of course, at Oaklawn Park. And I always ran into you. We went for like 10 years in a row. Were you there working for Chuck Turco the day that Dazzling Falls won the Arkansas Derby?
No, I wasn't there that year. I came to work for Chuck the following year. I was down in Phoenix, Arizona with David Van Winkle at the time. And the following year is when I went to work for Chuck. And I took care of a horse for Chuck called Highland Ice, who is the co-record holder of the number of wins at Remington Park at 17 and stuff. And he was a very nice horse also.
Another thing that Nick pointed out to me this morning, he's really the last of a generation of folks that love to do this kind of work. Kids over the course of the last 10, 15 years that have grown up, especially here in Grand Island around other racetracks, you just don't find them clamoring to take your kind of a job.
No, it's awful difficult anymore. You gotta love what you do. You really gotta like being around the horses 7 days a week, because they can't feed themselves, they cannot clean their own stalls, and you get up. There's no days off. Forget that. But there's so many things involved around that. From when I was younger to how the kids are today, they just, it's hard. It really is. It's a hard life to do.
I know there's so many stories, and you told me a couple this morning that we don't have time to pass along, but just quickly, a word about your cousin Benji Valdez. He broke his neck at Remington Park last December. They had a fundraiser, a potluck supper with a raffle a couple of weeks ago and raised $5,000. Just update us on his condition.
He's going to have surgery Monday, but as far as everything else, it doesn't look as bad as it sounds. He's doing good. His spirits are good and stuff, and I'm going to tell him to get healthy real fast, because 27 head.
You need help.
Yeah, we need help.
You pass our.
I want to make him do it with his halo and everything.
Yeah. Benji Valdez, again, all of our thoughts and prayers are with him. And you get him back up here on his feet, because everybody on the backside misses him. Nick, this has been an enjoyable last 10 or 15 minutes, and as a small token of our appreciation, our sponsor of the show, Brent C. Linder, who has both Sin City Bar and Grill and the Wave Pizza Company, has allowed us to give you a little gift certificate here. You can take the family out on the town, maybe tonight, and have warm thoughts about us back here at the track. And we certainly hope there's no more bad luck with the nuts, because we want him here for a long time.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you.
Nick Jones, groom for Steve Hall. Don't go away. Here they come for the Fonner First.
Thank you.
The horses are onto the track for the Fonner First, still 9 minutes away. Field of 6 going postward. They'll be dueling at the classic Nebraska distance of 6 furlongs. No scratches, no rider changes to report at a race that offers early daily double wagering along with the exacta and trifecta. Starters in the fodder first. Number 1, Nicka Jack, will be ridden by Mike Ziegler. Is owned by Roger and Barb Libby's Shady Bend Thoroughbred Farms. Trained by Brian